Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to our Dragon Age game. I'm really excited to watch this. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got some folks in the wrong frames because Zoom shuffled a little bit. I'm going to fix that in a second. But before we jump into everything, I did want to say a few words about our sponsors, which I'm going to have some links for those in chat. And then I will let Matt take it away and introduce everybody. So first of all, for our sponsors, we've got Fundamental RPG. It's a simple D20 system that you can use for pretty much any kind of game that you would like to play. It's not tied to any genre, so it's pretty flexible like that. You can find that on Amazon for the physical book or coffee.com/Raven if you would like the digital version. We also have Die Hard Dice, which they sell incredible polymer and metal dice sets. They've got some really amazing stuff. You can find that at dieharddice.com. If you use the code Blackfeather, all one word with a capital B, you can get 10% off your order. And then finally, if you want to catch up on this show or any others that we have on the channel, you can do so at the Fantasy Network at watch.thefantasy.network. So all of that out of the way, I'm going to pass it on over to Matt while I get all of the Zoom frames here organized. Let y'all introduce yourselves and jump into it.
Okay, we'll try this again. Hello. Are we good now? Can you hear us? Okay. There we go.
Happened.
All right. Raven, do you need to do the sponsors? Okay. Ooh, yeah. All right. Hi, hello. Welcome to our game. I'm Matt, and I'm going to be the DM for this motley band of people. As you might have been able to tell from my outfit, we're going to be on a boat, at least for a little bit. We're going to go around here on our screen and introduce everybody, and we're going to start with Pat, who now has no excuse for knowing he's going first.
Yeah, Pat, known for his concise and put together intros. Hi, I'm Pat. I'm a tactric on places online like Twitter and Twitch, where I play role-playing games, like here on the Blackfeather Guild and on my channel. Tonight I am playing Calyx. He is a human mage, and I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say anything else besides that yet, so I won't, because that's easier.
It's all right. Secrets are more fun. Next up, we have Archival Dust Bunny. How are you doing today?
I'm doing quite well. So I'm Anna, aka Archival Dust Bunny, around most places on the internet. I'm a queer and trans advocate, museum worker, and TTRPG streamer. So if any of that looks interesting, or you want to find one of the many places that I stream online, find me on Twitter at Archival Dust Bunny. Tonight I will be playing Mariana, a human rogue. That's all I'm going to say about her. Secrets.
So many secrets. So many secrets. I love it. This is going to be a group full of secrets. Next up, Icy Historian. Hello.
Hello.
Hey team, I am Icy Historian at Icy Historian, all the places I feel like being found. I am taking a bit of a break from the old social media, practicing some self-care, but I will, I'm sure one day be back. You can find me here doing TTRPGs. You can also find me on my new podcast with my friend Amber, Categorically Insane, where we are going through the history of Harlequin romance novels and talking about the development of romance genre as it relates to social and political and economic issues of the 20th century. So we're very excited. Our second episode just went live this week, and that's been really fun. And you can find me all kinds of places that I'll talk about at the end. And I will be playing Asala Polanius, a Tevinter Altus, with a couple of secrets.
The hits keep on coming. Next up, Rafiki, hello.
Hello! Hi, it is I. I'm a Rafiki. You can find me on ye old Twitter at Great Rafiki, not the Great Rafiki, because apparently that was taken. I will be playing tonight as Atrion, the Dalish elf and a rogue. If I have secret, who knows? Let's find out.
I mean, you know, you're one.
Everybody has secrets.
Something. Awesome. And last but certainly not least, Nikki, hello.
Hi, I'm Nikki, and I'm playing Valentina. And I want to be mysterious too. And not say much of anything else.
That's perfect. Such a mysterious team. What a good group to find wound up on a boat. Definitely not a pirate ship. It's rude of you to even suggest it, really. Hello, I'm Matt. I am a content creator of various stripes, and we'll get into more of that at the end of this. We're going to take this happy little crew away. The camera pans in from through some cloud banks onto the city of Kirkwall, which if you've ever played Dragon's Age 2, you know entirely too well. All the alleys look the same. All the courtyards look the same. All the rooms look the same. But it's a great old city. It's proud. It's had its big moments, its bad moments, and we're at some docks where the ship, the Anna Gray, is docked, and y'all are all have passage booked on it to Antiva City. So let's start out with Mariana. You have received a message, interrupted some work you were doing in town, that told you you were needed back in Antiva City. How did this message reach you?
Probably through various hands. I just found it in my pocket on the street, which is not surprising.
All right. So you're heading back to Antiva City. You've been working here in Kirkwall for a little bit. What are you doing in the moment you find this note? Where are you in town? You can totally make up a place if you don't know Kirkwall. It's fine. We're never coming back here.
Yeah, I was heading to get some food. I was up late working. So quite hungry and tired, heading to get some food, and finding a note like this urging me back so quickly it's a bit annoying, but I know better than to make them wait. So yeah, I will skip my food completely and head for wherever the docks are.
Perfect. Let's bounce over to Atrion now. A Dalish elf in Kirkwall is not unusual, but maybe not the most common sight. What are you up to?
Well, Atrion is trying to keep a low profile here, because surrounded by all those Shem as a Dalish elf that doesn't exactly follow Andres Street, he may not always be welcome with his Oda up. he's keeping an eye out for people of interest, for someone specifically that he's been on lookout for quite some time, probably passing in front of the Blooming Rose. And eventually, as things would be, making its way to the dock. As rumor has that this is where they were last seen.
Okay. Awesome. So, why are you going back? Why are you going to Antiva City? You don't have to get too deep if you don't want to, but why is Atrian going to Antiva City?
Somebody very, very dear to Atrion has gone missing.
Okay.
Rumor has that, they've been spotted this way.
So there's an interesting thing happening at the docks, Adrian. When you arrive, there a smaller ship, kind of a messenger ship, like a mail ship or something similar, has pulled in recently, and there are a small crowd of elves around it, a mix of city elves and Dalish elves, and they're all just kind of clamoring, and the captain is seeming very put upon. This isn't the Anna Gray. It's another ship, but there's a crowd of elves that are just kind of clamoring around this ship, asking for news. They all seem to be pretty panicked. Well, panicky.
I'll approach. I mean, obviously, us Dalish elf, we typically have our lovely facial marking. As tradition goes. Any of them in the crowd seems to have any of those that I could recognize?
Yeah, there are a couple. A lot of them are closer to the middle of the group, but there's one who's standing off to the edge and just kind of looking real fidgety. Isn't actively clamoring, just kind of waiting.
All right, I'll approach this person. I go. Another friend.
Hi. How are you? Are you also waiting on news?
Something like the sort. What's going on?
Well, we're hoping that the ship has news from the camps, the Arlathan bands. We all got family up in that area, and none of us have heard from any of the clans up there.
Really? From Darlaton?
Yeah, none of them. It's the whole forest has gone dark.
How long ago? I feel like I've just went by there, like moments ago.
It's just maybe a couple weeks, not too long.
All right, I'm gonna take a step back and just, obviously being of the Elwood clan, and my roaming Dalish clan is from around there, being a bit concerned about things.
All right. We'll leave Atrian there to ponder this new development. Let's pop over to. Now I have a question. Asala and Calyx, are y'all together or are y'all separate?
I think that we're probably together. I think that it's more like, not like, oh my god, my Biff and I are going on a cruise, #selfie. I think it's a little bit more like, yes, associate. We are here together amongst the rabble. a little bit of that. Yeah.
And y'all do now, are y'all wearing the kind of outfits that would make y'all stand out in Kirkwall? Or are y'all a bit more undercover?
I think Asala is definitely a bit more undercover, but there are some subtle, like if you look really close, you notice that like the needlework on the sort of long duster robe situation is pretty nice, but it's a lot more subdued than one would wear in the official capacity within the Imperium. It's a lot more like a little bit more blended.
Okay. Calix, how about you?
It's I think in a similar sense, Calix's robes they're not like flashy ostentatious, but they're definitely, if anybody actually examined them or took a look, like they're pretty nicely made. I mean, in general, I think we probably definitely still look like mages, which is probably not the best thing in Kirkwall. Thinking about that now.
It's an interesting question. So y'all came to Kirkwall to investigate things, largely to investigate things. Y'all each have maybe your own specific motives for taking up these specific jobs. I would actually like both of y'all to make the first rolls of our game today. I need a perception roll from y'all.
Oh, biscuits.
No pressure.
Oh, I'd sure put no points into perception.
Estella got a real good number there at least.
I don't know.
Okay, and so did Calix. Y'all both got decent numbers. Calix, you're maybe a little bit distracted, maybe fiddling with an item that you've been worrying on for most of this trip. But Estella, you noticed this. There are some large crates being loaded onto a ship here in the harbor. Wooden crates seem pretty beat up, seem to have been kind of everywhere a little bit. Most recent markings, you can see some markings that were kind of like Chantry, and over top of that, the seal of the now disbanded Inquisition are being loaded onto this ship. A ship called the Anna Gray.
I think Isala is absolutely going to be sort of watching this. I feel like this is something that she's pretty well practiced at, observing without being super obvious. I just feel like there's a lot of intrigue amongst noble mages that has sort of, you have to navigate when you're in her position. And I think she'll sort of like lean over to Calix and say, and sort of like barely like cock her head in the direction of the crates and say, just a passenger ship, hmm?
And Calix, also having been expected to learn how to do those things, but not being particularly good at being subtle, makes a much more obvious look over in that direction.
When you do, Calix, you noticed someone with a very fancy hat and a long coat kind of meet your eyes for a minute. He's over there standing near the ramp and just kind of waves to you in a real friendly gesture and just goes, "Hi, if you're looking for the Anna Gray, we're going to be boarding up here for Antiva City in about whenever these boxes of junk get on board. Y'all just come on whenever if you're coming."
Are tickets still available?
Oh yeah, sure. We only got a few passengers. We can take some more.
Yeah, tickets are still available.
It's a good thing we booked ours weeks ago.
Did we book these weeks ago? Oh, right. That's why we're here.
Mm-hmm. I don't make a habit of standing on random sea docks, Calix. We have much work to do. And regrettably, it appears as though we'll be carrying our own luggage on board. How delightful. And I think she's gonna pick up her things and make her way to the boarding plank.
We're gonna park y'all there, talking with the captain for a moment, and let's check in with Valentina.
Okay, Valentina's actually in a shop.
Oh,
She seems to be waiting for the shopkeeper to finish the conversation that's taking a really long time. Like somebody's going through all the options.
perfect. What sort of shop is this?
Like a general type store where you just get,
General goods and stuff.
yeah.
Okay. So the shopkeeper wraps up with the customer and says, all right, so one more time, you want the deluxe pack with the extra good bedding. You don't want rope, you want chain, but you do want some silk string for crafting, and you want the ration pack, but you didn't want the extra wine skin, right? Cool. All right, we'll have that delivered to your room. If you just pay my guy over there at the other counter, we'll get you set up. Hi, what can I do for you, ma'am?
Hi, I was sorry. I gotta take a step back because I had something else in mind.
Oh no.
I'm from the magic store, and I just came to pick up the grain before I go off on my trip.
Oh, you're here for the order, right. All right, hey, come on around to the side. We got it crated up for you. It shouldn't be bad. We'll be able to get that taken care of. How you doing? How your folks?
They're great. I'm going on a trip. I didn't tell them.
Oh, and he just kind of like looks around and like leans. It's like, you're not in trouble, are you? Right? Like, look. I know you're kind of magic-y, and magic-y is kind of a rough thing to be in Kirkwall, but you're okay, right?
We're not supposed to talk about that here.
Yeah, I know. So I'm whispering. You're okay though?
Yeah. I just don't want to get caught.
Okay. Well, look, you got passage booked or anything yet?
No, I was going to try to just talk my way onto the boat.
Do you care where you go?
No.
All right. Look, your folk have been real good people. Y'all been great, and y'all done some real good business with us. So here you go. My cousin is Captain Antilles, over on the Anna Gray. You talk to him, tell him I sent you, and he'll work out something. You might have to like do some work on the boat, maybe like, I don't know, cook a meal or something, but he'll be great. He'll get you sorted out. Antiva City's rough, but it's pretty nice. Don't insult any crows.
That's a thing?
Oh yeah.
Okay, but you've already said it, so now I might accidentally.
Oh, I don't mean the birds.
Oh, okay.
You can insult the birds all you want. They're not going to do nothing unless they're really big or foul-tempered or blue jays. But no, like the crows, and he like mimes like a stabbing motion.
Oh, okay. I'll just stay away.
Okay. Yeah, but you and your folks are okay, right?
They should, possibly.
Okay. All right. Well, tell you what.
Just be careful.
Yeah, we'll get this delivered for you. You run on. They're probably leaving soon. And hey,
Okay.
Valentina, you have fun. All right.
Okay. Bye.
Take care. Good sailing.
I'm just like gonna run.
You run down from kind of the merchant quarters down to the docks. You can find the Anna Gray real easy. It's one of only a couple of boats, a couple of ships in the harbor right now. One pretty clearly just showed up, so it's not that one. Another one is looks like an Orlesian warship, which probably not. And then right in the middle, there's kind of a smaller ship that's being loaded with some crates. Looks like some fancy people trying not to be mages are standing around. What are you gonna do?
I'm going to run up to the fancy people who are totally not mages.
Awesome. Asala, Calix, Valentina, do you want to describe what Valentina looks like real fast here, Nikki?
She is a human woman and just not roby clothes, just NPC clothes.
Perfect. So Asala, Calix, an NPC runs up to you. They look like a shopkeep. The person that you'd see in the background of a shop, maybe like sweeping or stacking stuff on a shelf. She runs up to you.
I think Asala just sort of looks at her like waiting, like what?
Just confused silence.
Hello there. Is this the anagram?
It is.
I have passage on the ship.
Congratulations.
Great.
We're gonna let that awkward conversation just marinate on y'all for a minute. Let's kick back over to Mariana.
It's me. Yeah. Did my note indicate whether or not passage was paid and which ship I'm supposed to get on?
The note said you just need to that the captain was expecting a crow, and then to not ask questions, as per usual. And it did not specify which ship, so that'll be fun for everybody.
Cool.
You can probably almost certainly rule out the Orlesian battleship.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to try your luck there, that'll go in we'll have a very different adventure, but we can try it.
No, I'll stomach growling, just kind of sticking to the crowd. I'll ask around and see what ships there are going to Antiva City.
Okay, this narrows it down immediately. The Orlesian ship is not going anywhere. Apparently there's trouble afoot in Kirkwall, but there's always trouble afoot in Kirkwall. The mail ship just arrived from a run from Antiva City and isn't planning on going back that way for a little bit. It's actually going down towards High Ever next, and then down the Ferelden coast. And that leaves maybe the dinkiest ship you've ever had the misfortune of being on. Out of everyone here, I feel like Mariana is probably the one who's traveled by ship not in disguise and not expecting not Imperial finery before. So this is not a great boat.
Great. Yeah, if the captain's expecting me, I will head straight for the ship. I'm not going to waste time. I don't want to miss it.
Oh, perfect. You pass up three people who are having maybe the most awkward conversation you've ever had the misfortune of witnessing. And there's a man standing on the gangway with a very large hat and a captain's jacket, very piratey Age of Sail kind of thing. And he just turns and goes, "Oh, hi there."
Hello. Antiva City, correct?
Oh yeah, that's where we're going next. Now, as long as the wind don't turn, but my knee ain't acted up today, so we're probably all right.
I believe you're expecting me.
Am I? I'm expecting a couple of fancy pantses from up north. I think that's them arguing though, over there. Who are you? I've got a small list of passengers.
Mariana.
Oh, and he like hops down off of like the pillar he had been standing on. Just goes, so this is official business then?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
So this is
The seagulls.
official business then?
It is.
All right. I guess there's a couple of cabins in the back that are available. I would ask that if you have to do any business on board, that you not make a mess of the floors.
I'll do my best. And I just
Appreciate
pat him
that.
on the shoulder and walk up the gangplank.
You walk up and he just kind of like adjusts his coat and hat a little bit, and then climbs back up on the pile and just goes, all right, folks, we got us just a few more rooms on board this boat heading to Antiva City. Anybody else who's wanting to get on? Now's the time.
I think Asala is going to take a case in one hand and Calyx in the other, and just like when the parent, like the toddler, does not want to leave the zoo, and mom and dad have decided that we're leaving. It's very much the like, and we're walking motion, and she sort of presents the paperwork to this person with that kind of smile. I don't know if many of you have dealt with a lot of old school New Englanders before, but it's the New Englander smile of like the mom when the child brings home a partner of which they do not approve. It's that She kind of looks like a lit, like just sort of hands the paper over, like, oh, good, I'm real pumped.
The captain takes your paperwork and looks at it and goes, oh, yeah, we were expecting you, fancy folk. Welcome on board the Anna Gray. We got normal rooms in the back. If you're doing anything fancy pants spell like, please don't damage the floors. They're very difficult to clean, and no demons on board the boat at any time. That is a personal rule. I did suffer through the blight, and I do not enjoy doing that.
Noted. I assure you that all of my demons will remain checked in my luggage.
Boy, that was not exactly as inspiring as you might think it was, but all right, welcome aboard, folks.
Thank you.
Valentina, the people you're talking with just ran away. What you doing?
Following them because they seem like they know what they're doing.
So you hear this exchange, and they head up the ramp. Calyx, did you follow? Did you just roll with all of this, Calyx?
Yeah, it's just still silent throughout this whole thing, but getting pulled along and just, I think, giving this, like, sort of not really feeling that bad, just face of apology to Valentina, like, oh, we'll see you on the boat. It was nice meeting you, I think. Like,
fantastic. We're gonna catch up with y'all very soon. Valentina, so you follow up. The captain goes, oh, hi there. I don't think I had any more reservations, but we still got some room if you need a trip.
Yes. I was talking to I forgot the shopkeeper's name already, but she's going to name the shopkeeper.
Well, that's a benefit. I did not name him. We'll call him Dale. He seems like a Dale. So the captain just like hops down, kind of sits on a little pillar and just goes, oh, you mean Dale?
Yeah, Dale. He said to talk to you
About what?
about getting passage on the ship. I might have to cook a meal or something.
Oh, you okay. So Dale does this a lot. Yeah, he seems he's got a good heart in him, my cousin Dale does. Tell you what, we have some fancy folk on board and everything like that. I'll tell you what. I am, he just like looks around. I am sitting pretty well with commissioned travelers this trip. Tell you what, if you can just help us out with maybe some overnight watches on board, you can have one of the other cabins. How's that sound?
That sounds great. Yes, thank you.
All right, you ever been on a boat before?
No.
Okay, there's two really simple rules. If someone yells at you to tie something down, you pull on the rope until it's firm, and then you make a knot. If someone tells you to untie something, don't do it. They're liars. My crew is awful. If I yell at you to untie something, you can just cut it. Just make it happen as quick as possible. Third rule, don't ever touch the ropes. Fourth rule, don't fall off. All right?
Okay, well, why did you tell me to cut it if I'm not supposed to touch the ropes?
Well, look, the rules are in sequential order. So you follow them as they come up. So if someone tells you to tie something down, you go, well, one, that's a tie down rule. So I'd pull it tight and then tie it. But then rule 3 comes up and I don't touch the ropes. Does this all make sense?
No, but I'm gonna roll with it.
That is, you're going to fit in so good in this crew. Hey, if you need a full-time job, you just let me know. We'll see how you work out. This is great. Welcome aboard the Anna Gray.
Thanks. I'm gonna run and try to follow my new friends who just keep running away from me.
I love this dynamic already. Atrian
Yes.
I'm sorry. Atrian or Atrian?
I heard it both ways.
Perfect.
It depends on the region of Ferelden.
Fair enough. Yeah, everyone talks different. So I am not at all going to try an Orlesian accent. I will just warn the audience right now. I'm not going to try. It won't go well. All right. So, Atrian, you have heard this announcement from the captain a couple times. It doesn't seem like anyone else in this crowd is particularly interested in talking. The couple others you've managed to get anything out of have all given you the same story. Every Dalish clan in the Arlathan woods, in the Arlathan forest, seems to have just dropped off the face of Thedas in the last couple weeks.
And rumor has that who I'm looking for probably went to Antiva or by there.
Yeah, people have passed through Antiva and kind of haven't been heard from again.
No, I probably overheard, things about, people having tickets and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
As a Dale, I don't have much of the coins. So, looking over at the docks and looking the way the ship is, would there be possibly a way for a sneaky Dale to op in as a stowaway?
Oh, I'm certain we can try. Let's see here. So that's almost certainly going to be a dexterity.
Yeah.
Did you do a focus in stealth?
I don't have the ability to get a focus in stealth just yet.
Okay.
So it will just be straight dexterity.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a dexterity roll there, and let's see what happens.
Oh, well, that's not too shabby.
It's not, and you got some stump points. You want to throw those on board?
Yeah, let's see what available would be for a stun point. I mean, that would be, I guess, those would be exploration stun, right?
Yeah, I think right now that'd be exploration.
I mean, at that point, I'm assuming advantageous positioning would work in this case.
Sounds great. So you're able to notice a couple things and sneaking on board. One, the captain almost certainly noticed you and didn't say a word, and the rest of the crew seemed to be mostly idiots. So I'm sure this is going to go great, but you're on board and no one seems to be saying anything. Either you have not been noticed or they do not care enough to make a fuss.
Yeah. Fantastic. As soon as I'm on board, I'm going to find a little spot to sneak in an empty room and claim it as my own, or, hide in a cabin somewhere, just so that I'm out of mind, out of sight. Don't pay attention to the little daily shelf here.
Yeah, there was a couple of spare rooms. You saw some that were occupied, but there was a couple spare ones. So yeah, you can even wind up with your own stateroom.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna bump into some people with some fancy pants on.
Yeah,
and just bow down, not show my face too much. Apologies, with biggest Dalish accent possible, because the trade tongue is not my forte. And
perfect.
Either way.
So it's with one thing and another, the Anna Gray is going to depart from the Kirkwall Harbor. Here's how this is going to kind of go for a little bit, right up until our break. Here's what we're going to do. All of my PCs here, and our one very friendly NPC, are going to now basically have the opportunity to roam around the ship, interact with each other, interact with the crew or captain as needed. Just kind of poke around a little bit, see who you meet, because there are some other people on board who were already on board before all of y'all's shenanigans started happening. So whoever's got something they want to do, we'll roll from there. There will be some general information available to people. We'll say this is maybe 3. Y'all are about a third of the way through the trip. I'm not going to put a daytime thing on there because I don't know what that scale is, and the age of sail is weird. So y'all are about a third of the way through the trip when this particular round of roleplay kind of stuff is going to happen. It seems like it is a beautiful day. The wind is coming. Y'all are riding nice calm waves, not too choppy. The crew is just singing shanties up top. It's a scene right out of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, the best Assassin's Creed. And on board, on the top deck, the captain is at the helm. The crew is all working merrily. There's the smell of something fairly palatable coming up from the galley. There are as many of y'all up on deck as want to be. And there are 2 other individuals on deck. One is dressed in these gray and green robes. He's got a really just clean staff that he's leaning on. Seems like he might be wearing a sword underneath the robe. And he is an elf. He does not have any tattoos.
Okay.
The other person is sitting up at the very front of the ship, out on the bowsprit, like actually sitting out there, just kind of taking it in, and is wearing just some traveler gear. And the way he's sitting, you'll have to actually approach them if you want to find out anything more about them. They're not really turning around or acknowledging anyone, really. They're just kind of enjoying their day. So this is going to be very much kind of free-form, round-robin kind of stuff. Y'all can interact with each other. Y'all can interact with the crew, the captain, either of these other 2 passengers, whatever suits your particular fancy. And whoever has an idea can start.
So I'm fairly used to being on boats, so I think I'm spending all of my time out on the deck in the wind. If anybody else is on the deck, you see a pale woman, copper red hair, curly about chest length. She's fairly skinny, leather corset over very flowy blue skirts. She's up there just enjoying the sea and the wind. I was only told to get on the ship. I don't know if I'm supposed to make contact with somebody here, so I'm watching for things that I would know to watch for, people I might recognize in the crew or other passengers, and just kind of taking everything in. If I don't see anybody amongst the crew, I may approach the person at the head of the ship just to make small talk, see if they have any information for me.
Oh, the person sitting up on the bowsprit.
Yes.
Perfect. This is great. So you roll up there, and the individual, once you kind of get up next to him, you can tell they're also an elf. They do have some facial tattoos on them. And after a little while, just kind of enjoying the breeze together, eventually he kind of just nods at you and just says, "Returning to Antiva City on business, madame?"
I am indeed. How about you?
Oh, my business is far ranging. No, some property of mine is being transported on the ship today, and I just wanted to make sure it arrives safely.
I see. What kind of business are you in?
Oh, wow. You asked the good questions, don't you? I'm in the business of safety. I want to keep things safe. He just kind of smiles and looks back forward. I'm sorry. I apologize. This person also does not have face tattoos. I apologize. I misspoke there. I was thinking of a different character. So he just smiles at you and kind of faces forward again.
Faces forward again like he's ending the conversation or just continuing to enjoy it?
He's just continuing to enjoy. You do not get the impression that he has no more to say. That there are still branches on the dialogue tree to explore.
So it seems like such an interesting business. How does one provide safety like that? How do you say you're transporting things? What arms and armor? What?
Armor of a sort. He like swings his legs back over onto the ship and leans against the railing. He's not ignoring you. He's just kind of taking in the whole ship, kind of, is kind of the feeling. Maybe even kind of looking beyond it a little bit. I did some work for the Inquisition when it was a going concern, and we discovered a way to shield the world, and my interest is in that.
Oh, well, that is well beyond anything I can understand. I buy groceries and scrub kitchens, deliver the occasional messages. So
he actually turns and looks right at you and smiles. And it's a very warm smile. And he just goes, "Really? Is that all?"
that is what I'm usually hired to do.
He laughs and says, I am certainly no one to throw stones at other people's glass houses. I've plenty of glass walls of my own that I'd rather not see come tumbling down. So you're heading back to Antifa City. You seem, if it's not too forward, you seem a bit concerned with this new message you're being asked to deliver. Is it a prickly subject?
There's a bit. Somebody I owe money to calling me back. That's all.
Those debts certainly bind people together, don't they?
They do.
And the fingers on one of his hands just kind of tighten for a second and then release, and he just kind of shakes it off and looks at you again and smiles and says, well, I certainly wish you the best with your message deliveries. I hope they always go smoothly.
I hope your safety brings the comfort that you seek.
His smile gets really sad right there. Just for a second, his smile gets really sad. And he kind of looks away from you and just goes, my comfort isn't the issue. And then he swings himself back over, back onto the bowsprit, and just kind of relaxes again. And this time it does kind of feel like he has ended the call a little bit.
Yeah. I'm going to wander away, just leaning against the railing somewhere. Making a note to keep an eye on him, though. He seems to know far more than what he should. Yeah, I'll just watch the crew and everyone else on deck.
All right. Who else? Who's next?
Valentina she's at first she was just walking back and forth a lot. Like, NPCs do. Then she decided, I think she started talking to people, like actually to the characters whose names I can't quite remember yet.
Mm-hmm.
She was going to say hi to Calix.
Oh, delightful.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you'd find me. So Calix is he's a human mage. He's pale and tall and in these like red and black, like I was saying before, like fine but not like flashy robes. And he is like sitting most of his time on dock, or not on dock, on deck, but in whatever shady part he can find, because he's just spent a whole lot of time underground in the necropolis, and he's back above ground is still getting used to, I think. And this is a lot of sun.
Have you been on a boat before?
Like ever? Once or twice, when I was younger. Nothing recently, nothing quite like this. Ship, I guess, might be generous.
You don't look like you get much sun.
No, thank you. No, I work primarily in. Have you been to Navarra?
No, I've never left the town that we just came from.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry.
We meet a lot of people at the shop.
Right. Well, it's in Navarro. We have a big underground crypt, and that's where I work. That's where I do my business. And as you see, like he had kind of like laid out almost like he was meditating or just sitting and thinking before this conversation started abruptly.
Oh, that's all interesting looking stuff. Did you see all the people on the boat?
I mean, I haven't seen all of the people.
You should.
It's a lot of people too. I mean, it's a lot of alive people make a lot of noise. I've forgotten.
Yeah.
So it's a lot.
She's gonna say, let's go see the people, like she's trying to pull you out.
No, you have fun and tell me or someone else all about it.
I'll tell you. Why don't you just come with me?
I have started a thing, and if I go with you, the thing will go bad if I don't finish it now.
Oh, can you show me?
It's not really a visual thing. Who can see into the fade? Or
Well, I could
something like
try.
that. Sure, you definitely could try, and I hear that silence really enhances those attempts if you really wanted to shoot for it. So you do that while I do my thing.
Oh yeah, silence. That's really interesting that you said that. She's just gonna like talk for a while.
Oh boy. So Calix, are you going to continue to work on this item?
I mean, I'm trying.
All right. Let's see. There's a.
This is different. I had been focusing on this project the whole time I was in the necropolis, and silence and undead everywhere, and now it's noisy and lots of people, and maybe that's the change I needed. Maybe this is the treasure along the way, or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
Well, she's not an NPC anymore. Valentina's talking your ear off about everything that she's seen.
Maybe this is the spark I need to get this to work. Complete distraction.
Hey, we'll try rolling me a magic roll fast, and let's see if anything happens.
Gosh, how do I do that? Just
I think just
And if they
magic
were
is
demons.
magic clickable.
It should be.
There.
Oh, okay. If you would like to use some of those stump points, you can. There is a handout of some stunts. I don't know if any of them will immediately apply to this situation because it's not a mishap, so this is not going to go badly. All right. Would you like to use these stunts? You do not have to.
Nah, that's fine. I'm not
Okay.
sure how yet, so no.
Okay. So what we're gonna say then is describe the object. Do you have something in mind for that? For the vessel?
Oh gosh. I sure did, and now it's gone from my head.
Oh no.
I think the vessel he had prepared, it's like it's like a silvered bird skull
Ooh.
with just a set of jewels where the eyes would be. I think like just black jewels.
Okay. So for a minute there, the eyes glow green for a second, and then kind of immediately turns off.
This, oh my gosh, this incessantly talking person is the key.
Calix and Valentina, if y'all would like to, you can both roll a perception real fast for me. You are not required if you think your character is just too deeply focused on other things. Okay.
I want to roll it.
All right.
Sorry about that, Calix. Where did my roll 20 go? Oh, it's just me losing stuff as usual. Losing whole tabs. I only have like 90 open. Okay, this is Dragon Age. I will launch the game again. I promise you, she's being very nice when she's talking your ear off.
Oh no, this is the most progress he's made in months. So clearly this level of chatter is key to this ritual.
Turns out silence, meditation, a focused mind. No, that's all bunk. What you need is just distractions. Get out of your own way
the whole
for a minute.
opposite way.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking for the perception button.
Okay, so this one's a little bit different than the other ones. Go to your character sheet. You see the one that's got like the 8 different things on the left-hand side?
Yes.
All right, make sure the checkbox by perception is clicked,
Yes.
and then click that die up near the top, right above communication. And then it should ask you a couple questions.
Okay. That's why it's just gonna hit submit. And no focus, correct?
Correct?
Submit.
Hey, all right.
Okay. It did a double, sorry.
No, you're good. It rolled great. You got a 9. All right. So Valentina, you're not going to immediately notice anything. You're just having a really great conversation, honestly. This is great. You're meeting new friends. And what more can someone want on a trip? Calix, you notice that the 2 elves that are on deck that you have not noticed before, the one in the gray and green cloak and the one that was sitting up on the forecastle talking to Mariana, they both kind of twitch a little bit. Like the one on the forecastle, just kind of like his shoulders just kind of like pop for a second. And the one that's in the gray and green cloak, like he just kind of like turns and looks your direction.
I kind of like hand over the little skull token that I've got, kind of like covering it.
You're having a hard time because you're a bit distracted, obviously.
Mhm.
You're having a hard time pinpointing what emotion is on his face.
Oh, that's great. Besides the colors that you mentioned, does he have any like livery or like emblems or anything?
Oh,
on
what an
this?
interesting question. Do you have anything going on in cunning?
I have heraldry in cunning.
Do you?
Yes.
Oh boy,
It's the most useful skill.
is that a focus?
Yes. Yes.
Huh. Okay, so just for a second, and we're gonna take our break after this, and then come back and let the rest of y'all continue doing roleplay stuff. We've been going a little longer than I thought, so we're gonna finish up this one and then head into break. So you noticed just for a second, there's something like tied to his belt. When he kind of turned, his cloak kind of flared a little bit, and he is wearing a sword, but that's normal. That's whatever. Everyone wears a sword. But what's tied to his belt is what looks like the insignia of one of the High to Winter houses. On this elf who definitely noticed your magic happen. And we're going to take a break and come back and pick up with everybody else and see what y'all are doing on this beautiful day where nothing will go wrong.
Fantastic. Yeah, we're going to take a 15-minute break, so go grab snacks, hydrate, all that good stuff, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back from break. Before we get back to our amazing roleplay session on the deck of this ship, the Anna Gray, bound for Antiva City, we've had a couple of very, very interesting conversations so far. I do need to clarify one thing that I looked up during the break. Calix, the bit of heraldry that you saw was specifically, it is tied to one of the members of the Magisterium, and even more specifically, the Watchman of Night. Do with that what you will. All right, who is up next? We haven't heard from Asala yet, or Atrian.
I guess I can go.
All right.
So, I mean, it's been a few days we've been on the ship, right?
Yeah.
So, first few days, Atiana in this improvised cabin, that nobody really bothered to check. It's just sitting there, boots down, showing completely his face tattoo, side head completely shaved with a little braid. He's trying to, center himself there. But being on a ship, it's not exactly, what he's used to, being a Dalish elf. Never stepped a foot on a boat before. So that's we set sail in the sea. Seasickness happened. It sucks. But, so we'll try to, rest easy, try to get some food here and there. Eventually, try to hit the kitchen. Hopefully to find some herbs that will help with that. Possibly bump into whoever may be around. If there's, a fancy pants mage around, you will possibly bump into said mage.
Asala, are you around?
Asala is sort of exploring and making her way to the deck.
All right. Y'all bump into each other? Do y'all want to bump into each other then in the hallway?
Sure.
Irabala, apologies. Did not see you there.
I think she sort of lifts like a little half smile and says, "No problem." And she sort of like tilts her head and looks at Atrian and says, Pardon my inquiry. Are you ill?
Seasickness. I'm not used to be on a boat.
Is it okay if I have something to give to him?
Yeah, sure.
I think that she's going to like reach into like a bag and pull out some herbs and hand them and say, my opportunities for travel have been limited, and I packed some in case. I somehow seem to have found my sea legs, as it were, so perhaps it would be better used in your circumstance.
So, being a Dale with some, humans, sometimes there are trust. I'm assuming I can tell that the herb that she's trying to give me are not going to be, making me worse,
No, it's legitimately like a healing situation. I think for Asala, part of this whole travel outside of the Imperium is just a sort of like clean slate situation, right? Mm-hmm. Like, she's just like, we're just gonna figure all of this out.
Gonna take the herbs, Masarana, my thank you, as you say in your tongue. I may hopefully get used to travel by boat in a few days. I think I may need some fresh air.
It may do you well. An old friend of mine said, unfortunately, it's often 2 days where one thinks they are about to expire and one day where they wish they would hurry up and get to it. it appears as though perhaps you may be able to head off the worst of it with some rest and fresh air.
I certainly hope so. I cannot wait until we reach land once again. It's hard. I don't know how people find sleep. I was going to the kitchen for herbs, but it seems that this will do. Are they like herbs that one would consume just by chewing on them, or by making a tea, or?
Yeah, I think that it's probably something. I think it would be for Asala, it would be rather indelicate for her to have to like stop and prepare something. So it's something she could surreptitiously sort of chew on. Because I think it would be, she would consider it rather unbecoming to succumb to seasickness outside of the Imperium and be seen in an indelicate state. So I think it's definitely something she could just sort of like like shove into her mouth and chew on.
And I'll do so. Well, thank you again for the assistance.
No issue.
And I'm gonna look around, because I probably do not speak to much people since I got on the ship. Well, in this case, I'm gonna possibly go up top deck and catch some fresh air. And I don't know where you were eating.
I'll head up there myself. If I may suggest a seat in the shade. The glare of the sun may exacerbate the condition.
I'll do so. And I'll go up top deck and follow the advice of what to me is a medicine woman. So
I think Asala's gonna hang back because while like I think in a personal interaction she's like the class system is like whatever, but like for appearance's sake to be seen like ascending with someone outside the Imperium would be most indelicate, and I think she'll wait a few minutes before doing anything else.
All right,
yeah, because I don't look fancy at all.
So let's follow Atrian then, and let's follow him up to the deck.
All right. So I'm assuming I will just doing a quick scan around, see whatever scene may have happened moments ago with Calix and Valentina. Just I can hear chatting his ear off. And I'm assuming I'm seeing also Mariana is in blue, right?
Yes.
Yeah. For me, she's just going to be the woman in blue.
Leaning on a railing.
Hey, I don't know anybody's name yet. By some elves, and sit there in the shade, just look around and just pay attention and listen very, very carefully to what people are saying. And whatever I discern over here.
Okay, so we'll pop back to you then here in a little bit. Chime in if you want Atrian to do something. So Asala, a few minutes pass, and you come up to the top of the deck there.
Yes. I think that for Asala, this is absolutely a sort of, now that the dust has begun to settle after some major events, like 3 gigantic video games worth of major events, I think that Asala is very much on a sort of seeing the lay of the land mission, and like very keenly aware of the fact that like she ain't in Tevinter anymore, Toto. So there's a lot of like just sort of trying to figure everything out. And I think that she is going to take a spot near the individual in the green robes on the deck and just sort of looking out at the water. I don't know if she's had many opportunities for this kind of travel, or for this experience. I don't think it's something that she's really done a lot, and I think there is like, even she can't sort of hide back that bubble of, there's like a little bit of excitement.
All right. So you're just looking out over the water, and someone approaches you.
I think she kind of stiffens, not in a way that's like off-putting, but in a way that's like almost like she's putting on her costume, you know, like she's rolling up, and she sort of turns to acknowledge them with like a tight, polite smile.
And before you see the elf in the gray and green robe, holding a staff, clearly has a sword on, some scraps of cloth are dangling from his belt. Do you have the heraldry focus as well?
I do.
One of them is from the Tevinter Magisterium, the Watchman of Night house specifically. And the elf man bows to you with like a smile on his face and says, "Welcome, noble Altus. Strange to see you so far from the capital."
Yes. And she kind of pointedly looks down at the heraldry scrap and looks back up and meets their eyes and says, "It seems one may see many strange things at sea."
He just kind of smiles and like leans his staff against himself and tucks that bit of cloth back into the belt a little bit. It just folds it back over. "Oh, nothing's ever truly as it seems in the Imperium now, is it? You should know that."
I think she just sort of like shrugs a shoulder and says, "Well, you know, it appears as though our reputation may precede us. Is there a way I can be of service to you this day?"
He steps up next to you on the railing and leans against it, and just kind of takes a deep breath of the air, and then rotates around so he's leaning back against the railing, looking out over the boat, and he says, "Aid me. It's not the first time one of you has offered that, but no, I'm quite well, thank you. I don't actually imagine you could make come true my dream, but well, there's no reason to be rude, so I'm not going to push that. Are you enjoying your trip so far?"
It has been most enlightening, and I look forward to what the future may bring us. But for more humble accommodations than I'm sure you understand were useful, it has actually been quite nice. The pretense and prattling of the Imperium, while having its benefits, also can make one weary.
He nods very, very calmly. I mean, holding a mask in place is certainly an exhausting task. I would like you to make a roll for me, Asala. I think it's going to be your choice, magic or perception. Either one I think will accomplish this.
Let's go with magic.
Perfect.
So I click the box and then I hit the dice.
Yes.
Okay. Do I do magic and perception or just one?
Just the one for
Okay.
right now. Yeah.
All right. So 3, none. I don't know if I did that right.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, yeah, I did that right.
Yeah, you did that real well.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for how correctly I did that, actually.
So, has Asala ever been in the presence of an effect that dampens magic? like a Templar, a Seeker, a magic charm that would block magic in an area?
I think that she has probably been exposed to them for like I imagine that Asala is like she is an Altus, but I imagine that she has become a bit troublesome. And so I think that because she has many questions and wants to know many things, like she's hanging out with Calix. And so I think that she's a little bit like I think that she's just a little bit troublesome. So I think that she was exposed to a lot of things and it was like, go on this trip. We 100% hope you don't die.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like,
Cool,
I
cool,
think
cool,
it's
cool,
a
cool,
little
cool.
bit like, get out of here.
So the Tevinter Imperium does still have Templars and everything. So you've almost certainly been around this kind of effect before. There is something that is just for kind of a moment that just kind of emanates from the man you're talking to, that's like dampens your magic down. Do you react at all to this?
I think that she just sort of looks him directly in the eye and kind of like, I just think sort of sighs a little bit like, okay, it's very much from Hamilton. Okay, so we're doing this. Like, okay, so this is happening now. Cool. I'm literally just trying to get from one place to another, friend. Like, okay. Because I don't think, and this is more of a mechanical question. I don't think I have anything where I can undo that at this juncture.
Oh yeah, and it fades immediately. It's just kind of like and he sees your look and just causes just apologies. Some instincts take more effort than others to restrain.
Understood.
He looks at you and just goes, Do you genuinely understand a defensive mechanism like that?
I am, and I think she sort of looks off and like a knowing kind of smile, and she kind of looks back and says, while your unique capabilities are certainly your own, I am aware of the need for one to be mindful of one's defenses.
He smiles. Unique capabilities. Another Altus said that to me once. And his hand kind of brushes his belt a little bit. And then he extends his hand to you and just says, call me the Prophet. And he's holding his hand out.
She takes his hand, and I think that like she has this very practiced mask of like, you don't know if I recognize anything that you're saying or not. I'm just taking it all at face value. I could have no idea who the fuck this is. I could have an encyclopedic knowledge on like your third grade teacher and your favorite breakfast order. Like, that's kind of who she is.
Beautiful.
And she sort of takes hand. She says, and you may call me Polanius. Asala Polanius.
I wish you well on your journey, Altus Polanius.
And I you, Prophet.
He just straightens up and he walks away from you, just kind of meandering across the deck. Roll actually. Asala for sure, and Atrian, Atrian and Mariana, y'all both also have this option to roll perception right now. Asala
Perception
for sure.
seeing?
Yes, perception seeing.
Fantastic. Oh, that's I rolled like shite.
Did I?
Yeah. Mason did a kicking yet.
Yeah, medicine's kicking in. You're feeling a little bit better. You're just taking in the day now. Mariana, you're just enjoying the wind up on the forecastle. Asala, you definitely noticed this though.
I only have a 1 in perception, and that's what I typed in, right? Did I do that wrong?
No, you did right.
Yeah.
That all seems to check out there.
Okay, great, because I am not great at this. So
The dice are giving you the ability here. So Asala, you notice this. The prophet, he walks away from you, and for a moment he glances up to the front of the ship, to the bow. His step kind of stuttered for a second, and then he walks to the rear of the ship. He climbs up and just kind of starts talking with the captain for a moment.
What does the captain look like as they're having this conversation? Is the captain like totes on board? Is he like, what are you talking about, weirdo?
Oh no, he seems to be. It's a super animated conversation. Seems really friendly. The captain is functionally the biggest dork cosplaying like a noble captain of the Age of Sail. That's what this captain is. So he's got like the billowy linen shirt on right now with the big belt and a sword through it. And like any of y'all that have looked at him today get the feeling deep in your soul that this man would try to Errol Flynn around this ship if he thought he could. Like, give it drop of a hat, he would try to climb a rope. And he's just, they're having a good conversation, real animated.
I think that Asala's going to look for a moment and really kind of take this in and then go find Calyx.
All right. Let's hop over to Atrian real quick then. You doing anything else, or are you just kind of enjoying the day?
I've been trying to pay as much attention to things happening, as much attention to the conversation with the elf over there, because they seem to be, besides me, I'm assuming there's not many. Are there many elves?
It's you, the prophet, the unnamed elf at the bow of the ship, and probably a couple others. Probably a couple others in the crew, but they are NPC elves.
All right. I mean, what a pretentious title, the prophet.
He's a dork.
Oh yeah.
As was mentioned in the chat, definitely a dork.
Yeah. You know, he chose that name when he was 16 and just stuck with it. All right. And well, I'm gonna, try to take a deep breath, pay attention to things around me. Without, getting too much attention to me. There was the other elf, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do they seem that, the prophet and him are like just, buddy nearby put together, or?
The elf at the bow did not react at all to your noticing. He did not seem to react to the prophet's conversation with Asala. He didn't seem to react when he walked away. He just seems to be sitting up there, enjoying the day, not really paying any attention to the rest of the ship.
All right. I'll calmly approach him and greet him in Elven. How do you find the trip so far?
He kind of slowly turns and looks at you and smiles. And in Elven, he replies back to you, says, child of the wood, I greet you on this fine day.
Far from home, indeed. The sea is not doing good for... But not many of us on board.
He seems sad for a moment and then says, no. Though, in fairness, we're not the most aquatic race on Thedas, now are we?
No. Elves are not exactly known to be many sailors. It may seems like an odd question. Have you met, by any chance, crossed path on the ship with a Dalish child?
Roll perception empathy for me if you've got that.
Oh, heck no, I don't have that. I have perception.
Then just straight perception will work. He seems to kind of what's a way to describe this? He goes from like a neutral to just kind of like slightly alert by this question. Like his demeanor doesn't really change, but it's just kind of like something in his eyes like goes a bit more just like when you say it's hard to pin down, but it's just kind of like he went from I'm having a good conversation with a potential new friend too.
Yeah.
There's trouble at the mill. So he goes, a child on board the ship. No, I don't believe so. I'm sure I would have noticed a child. Did you lose one?
In a way. Not sure if she's on this voyage or previous one.
He fully turns off the bowsprit and puts his feet down on the deck and kind of leans against the railing and looks at you. And he kind of leans in a little bit and just goes, you lost her in a way. Arlathan, perhaps?
What do you know?
He leans back and his face is pensive. He looks pensive. He said he's just And Mariana, you're still up there, so you get to hear all of this. Just as a heads up, like they're not, the unnamed elf is not being particularly quiet.
Yeah.
And he just says, I've heard the Arlathan families are on a voyage of their own. There are rumblings, friend. Rumblings in the heart of the forest. And he steps forward and his voice does drop a bit, and he puts his hand on your shoulder and he looks you right in the eyes. And he says, they say the heart of the forest is waking up again. Tell me, Adrian, did you ever dream of home?
I'm going to be surprised because I did not mention that man my name at all. And I'm going to try to remember, have I met him before? Probably
no.
not.
Not that you can place.
Yeah. I'm going to look, still, try to keep as calm as possible under the odd situation. Have we met before? I don't recall telling you my name.
I know the names of all the children of the forest, Adrian. I'm going to let you in on a secret. Would you like that?
I'm going to first take a look around to see if anybody's actively listening to us.
Mariana, are you actively listening?
Or, at least understand what we're saying because we're speaking
but
Elven.
I'm staring out over the ocean.
Okay, yeah. Do you speak Elvish by chance?
I do not.
Okay. So the Mariana, the woman in blue, is right there. Doesn't seem to be super keyed in, like aware that y'all are talking, probably. The man in the gray and green cloak, who is up talking to the captain still, is looking directly at y'all. Still carrying on the conversation, but looking directly at y'all.
Go on.
He smiles. He smiles real big. And he leans in And he says, Atrian, home is calling. The heart of the forest is waking. And his eyes dart from yours for a moment over to the man in the gray and green. And then he looks back at you and says, the city of the elves, Atrian. The city swallowed by the Tevinters. It never died. Its heart kept beating. Beware the storm, Atrian. My car, and he switches out of Elvish at this point and just says, my cargo doesn't much like storms. And he steps away from you for a moment. And he steps away, his back is to you, and he just kind of turns his head a little bit. And he says, it's very rude to not offer a name when one was taken, and I apologize, Atrian. Would you like mine in return?
If you wish to offer.
Asala and Calix and Valentina, I'd like y'all to do real fast here. Just do a real quick magic roll for me. No specific focus on this. Beautiful, Calix. Well done. Okay, awesome. You can look at the list of stunts if you'd like to, Asala. I don't know that any will directly apply to this, but you can use some if you'd like to. And Valentina? I'm sorry?
I'm so sorry. Do you gain those just like at random, or is it because I rolled poorly?
It was part of the roll on your dragon dice. You earned stunt points on it.
Oh, okay. Perf.
Yeah, and Raven provided us some handouts.
Yeah.
You call that a poor roll? Did you see mine?
You got quite a few stunt
But you
points
got a
there
bunch of
as well,
stunt points.
Valentina. Again, I don't know that any of these will help
No,
in this specific moment.
No.
Okay, so Valentina, you're not going to notice this really. Something just kind of feels off a little bit. Like it's almost that feeling like a cool breeze blew by in a room where you were not expecting a breeze to happen. That's about it. Asala, you notice there's just kind of a change in the wind almost. Like something just changed. Calix, you know right now someone just did some wicked strong magic. Like something just changed on this boat. Atrian and Mariana, y'all are going to be able to see this. The elf turns back to Atrian, and behind him there's a mirror that had not been there a second ago, and its glass begins to ripple. And the elf bows low to you, Atrian, and says, my inquisitor friends called me Solus. You may call me Finn Haral. Don't neglect home, Atrian. And he steps through the alluvion, and it vanishes. And a crack of thunder rolls over the ship, and the captain just goes, oh, my knees! We got a storm, boys! Everybody man the ropes, tie them down, cut them loose, we gotta go! And that's where we're gonna end our first session. Whew, boy. All right, everybody. We're going to go around in the reverse order that we did our introductions. Tell us what your favorite part was, where we can find you next, and anything else you'd like to promote. We're going to start with Nikki.
On my knees. I really like that. You just did it. And it was just great. This has been a lot of fun. Let's promote things. You have me laughing, and I'm already bad at remembering what to promote. So I know I'm on this channel on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And doing other stuff too. I'll try to remember to put a schedule on my Twitter.
Awesome. Rafiki.
Hi. Well, that was a joy. That was something fun. You know, the Dread Wolves, that's gonna be fun.
It's fine.
It's fine. The Dale ear absolutely love it. But hey, I am Rafiki again. Well, it's wonderful. And we say what we can promote about ourselves. Well, what I'm not gonna be here on Tuesday. Well, I'm gonna be on next Tuesday and all. Hopefully, they're gonna have me back. Otherwise, I usually am live on Thursday on a different channel called the GR Crew, and where I play some Titan Scrape, which is using the same system. So it's fantastic. Outside of that, here and there, I make some music under Raven Skull Production. That's about it, because there's not much interesting about me.
All right. I see Historian.
Oh man. So hi, I'm IC Historian at IC Historian, all of the places on the internet that I feel like being found. Again, taking a Twitter break, so you're not going to see much from me, but I'll be back. My favorite part, I think my favorite part is how fine I think everything is right now. I just feel like you're just gonna be fine. A light sprinkle, maybe a little breeze, and I great. Matt, you are absolutely delightful. I've never played with you before, but this was delightful. Love to see my boy Solus make a return. Always great to have old friends make a visit to you. So yeah, you can find me here on Tuesdays, Sundays on Pat's channel for Urban Shadows and a whole bunch of other nonsense that we take part in. And check out my podcast with my friend Amber, Categorically Insane. We are on Spotify talking about romance novels and their socio-cultural significance. Yeah. And that's me.
Very nice. All right. Archival.
Yes. So I'm Anna, aka Archival Dust Bunny, most places on the internet. I'm an LGBTQIA plus advocate, museum worker, and TTRPG streamer. If any of that sounds interesting, you can find me on Twitter at Archival Dust Bun. Wednesday nights, you can find me on Valdrian's channel playing an Animorphs-themed Blades in the Dark campaign at 7 p.m. Central. Sundays alternating, you can find me either at Gona_Hawking at 12:30 p.m. Central playing D&D set in the world of 1930s technology. Muted myself somehow. Or on Guild of the Phoenix at 7 p.m. Central playing Cyberpunk Red. On Mondays at 7:30 p.m. Central, you can find me on Weave the Tale playing Alien. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of death. And then, of course, you can also find me in Response Team Omnicron, which is a Lancer actual play podcast playing through the No Room for a Wildflower adventure path. Our first episode lands September 13th, which I think is next Monday. So keep an eye out for that. Do I sleep? Who knows? Follow me on Twitter to find out. Favorite part of the episode definitely has to be the captain. Just everything about the captain. I will be very sad if the captain is not part of our party going forward.
Oh no! Oh boy. And Pat, what was your favorite bit?
Oh man, I mean, one, definitely how fine everything is. Like Historian was saying, because we'll totally survive this magic to the ship with a freaking representative of the Watchmen of Night too. Like, I think my favorite part was Valentina's introduction, like as the group was all coming together boarding the ship.
Oh, this was very, very good. Thank y'all so much for playing. I'm Matt. I am a content creator of various stripes. I'm currently taking a little bit of time off from my own streaming, but you'll be able to find me there on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays on Fifth Draw Live on Twitch. Mostly video game streams, maybe some other things here and there. I am on this channel again on Thursdays for Elite Bebeskar, the Star Wars game, where I play a sweet summer child who's having to grow up and hates it. And I have a podcast called Hard Reboot, where myself and two friends take a public domain property and give it a fresh coat of paint. Favorite bits tonight was all of this role playing that y'all so gleefully engaged in, especially the bits where y'all just kind of engaged two insanely powerful characters and we're just kind of really chill to them the whole time. And y'all let me play Solus, and that was a lot of fun. Thank you. I love that idiot. He's such a dork. I am so excited to see what this crew is going to do this season. I hope y'all come back and join us next Tuesday. And I'm going to hand it over to Raven for the conclusion stuff.
That was fantastic. I enjoyed every bit of that. That was so much fun. We are going to go on a raid here in just a moment. We're going to go raid Brambleberry Games, who is awesome. Looks like she's playing some Stardew Valley. Might be on a break though, I think. But anyways, go say hi, give her a follow if you're not doing so already, because she's pretty great. And yeah, I am excited to see what happens in with this party in Dragon Age next Tuesday. Thank you so much for that follow. And then if you are enjoying this, as the tweet for this game mentioned, this is a 2-party campaign. So on Friday at noon Mountain Time, you can see the second party happening, doing a campaign that's happening at the same time, parallel to this one. So it's going to be pretty neat. Before we do go on that raid, I do want to mention a couple of quick words about sponsors again, which are Fundamental RPG. It's a simple D20 system that's not tied to any genre, so you can use it to tell any kind of story or play any kind of game that you would like to. You can find a physical copy on Amazon, or if you prefer a digital version, you can pick that up at coffee.com/raven/shop. That's RAVVYN, and there are links to that in chat. And then you can also find Die Hard Dice at dieharddice.com. If you use the code Blackfeather, all one word with a capital B, you can get 10% off your entire order. That's another one of our fantastic sponsors. And then if you'd like to catch up on this show or any other that we have or have had on the channel, you can do so at the Fantasy Network at watch.thefantasy.network. So again, thank you everybody for watching. Thanks to our fantastic cast and amazing GM Matt. This was a whole lot of fun to watch, and I will see you all again on Thursday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time for Elite Bebeskar. We're doing a sort of a finale and premiere combo from last season and this next one. Lots of stuff's going to happen. There's going to be some returning faces, some new faces. It's going to be a lot of fun, so I highly recommend that. And yeah, I will see you all then. Bye, everybody.